Okay, I'm Chris Walton. I am a meditation teacher and a cognitive behavioural hypnotherapist.
I'm Dan Keneally. I'm a meditation teacher and breathwork instructor. Welcome to EXP, and today we're talking about what's been happening recently. So Chris, what's been happening?
Yeah, so just something that's come up recently while I've been teaching. I've just finished my 8-week Unified Mindfulness course, my first Unified Mindfulness course, teaching a nice group, and yeah, it's been lovely.
Great.
It's been such a good group. I want to miss them, so I hope they come back and learn more. But yeah, one thing that's been coming through for me is ringing the bell. So we have this practice where we kind of generate sort of or encourage positive feelings, and they say it's like ringing the bell. So like maybe you just smile a bit and just feel that's like the bell ringing, and it's and the idea is the bell rings, but you don't hold on to it. The bell rings out. So if you smile and you have that feeling of feeling good, or just a little bit positive, just a little bit of calm, you just don't hold on to it. So if it sort of fades away a little bit, the smile dies down, the bell, it's just like the bell ringing out. So there's no grasping at these good feelings, and it just allows them to just flourish. It's just interesting how like one metaphor, I think it's a metaphor, like the ringing the bell can just really make something alive for people. Yeah.
I'm a huge metaphor fan.
Yeah.
I think from my courses, when I first learned to meditate, the teachers that I've connected with and continue to connect with all over the world, it's the metaphors that I've always remembered and that always come to me when I need them. You know, I'm not a visual person, but the metaphors, for some reason, they really stuck with me. And yeah, you know, it's whether it's water based, you know, there's so many water based analogies, but great that you can throw some of those into your course and that you feel that they resonated, because I'm sure that's what people have taken away and they'll be thinking about them. I guess they use those techniques in their daily lives. Is that your advice?
Well, I hope so. I encourage them. I put as much enthusiasm in as possible without forcing them. So yeah, I hope so.
Great. Any plans for a second course?
Yeah, I don't know when, but I'm definitely going to just keep rolling this out. Maybe once or twice a week, maybe an online one, maybe an in-person one. But I've absolutely loved it. It's also been. I've also noticed that it's quite thorough. So I'm thinking on how to do a version or do something that's a bit more entry level, a bit more beginner friendly. And yeah, I haven't talked to you about this, but I was going to see if you wanted to get involved. But yeah, something for us to discuss. I've just got a few ideas on just the right amount of entry-level mindfulness meditation practice.
It's really important, I think, to consider that entry level and what it might look like. And I think you can't go too simple, and that's in no disrespect to the people that might come and attend, but just as an entry point, I think people just want the information and see if they're comfortable in the environment with the information that's being delivered from the person who's facilitating. To give an example, I recently started a men's breathwork and meditation workshop series in North Yorkshire, in person. And the majority of people that come are people that have got no experience at all. So ascertain their experience and what their knowledge is of breathwork and meditation, and then you gauge on their experience levels how to pitch the session content, so that you guide them through an experience that will take them to places they've never been before, especially the more dynamic breathwork. It's been fantastic, you know, but you can write pages of ideas and what you want to do with them, but ultimately you got to distill it right down and just let them enjoy. And the greatest moments are when there's very little happening. You know, after a dynamic breath work, have a really nice cleansing breath and then go into you know, like a meditation experience, and you can guide them and just let them drift. And you know, those moments of silence where there's nothing happening, they can be the most powerful for you as a facilitator, because you've seen the fruits of your work, but for the guys, in my experience, that are there, that's the bit that they really enjoy. That's where they find something that they maybe haven't experienced before. So you can never go too too kind of basic with what you want to deliver, and then build up from there.
Yeah.
But you know, beginner sessions are fantastic to be involved in because you see an immediate reaction.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah. It's just really making me think now. You said experience, and I think for a lot of people it is an experience they want. So in that way that people that are so into it like we are, we can't see the wood for the trees sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're getting so excited about books or techniques or the depths of Buddhism or meditation that we don't realise that people need to have an experience. I think you're definitely right about stillness. Sometimes that way in is just a massive place of change for people. And when I do in my hypnotherapy practice, I would say that's where I would like people to go, to have a place of stillness. Then we build from that, to get the nervous system and the mind really calm, using relaxation skills, using hypnosis, and then bring in the positive or whatever the change is that they want. But yeah, so that is a good reminder to make something maybe experience-based, but just very accessible.
Yeah. I had a conversation with my partner before the first session, and she's quite experienced in wellness and meditation and yoga. And she gave me some really key advice and tips of what to consider for the men's group that I was running. Because like you say, you can't see the wood for the trees sometimes. And she said even explaining things like what goes on in this yoga studio that we're in, you know, why we burn incense, you know, why, you know, the mood or the atmosphere of the music that I'm playing that's really carefully chosen, why that music. And they need to be comfortable in their surroundings before you even say a word. And that begins from the moment they walk through the door. You know, why do they take their shoes off? You know, it's all overcoming those little barriers that maybe prevented them from stepping foot in a yoga studio previously.
That's such a good
and
point.
normalizing that environment and making them comfortable to feel as though they can relax, surrender, accept what's going to happen, and ultimately give them an experience where they want to return. You know, and that's the key. You know, the returning.
Yeah, well, I would say that is a bit of hypnosis. So the place that you do the practice, if there is incense burning, if they're taking their shoes off, if there's a calm around the building or in the room, that's a little bit of expectation, and it all leads to the experience and the maybe ritual's a bit strong. But it's a bit of a ritual in there. No, I like that.
What else has been going on?
So, yeah, what I've been noticing. So ADHD got mentioned a bit in my classes, and it's something. Obviously, I've got ADHD. I found out 4 years ago. So it's been really interesting looking at that from the mindfulness meditation point of view. And what's coming up is this. With ADHD, you kind of jump onto focus on something, and even if you haven't got ADHD and you're just using your phone a lot, you kind of, modern life teaches you to have this narrow focus and to jump onto a topic, focus on a story, focus on the next story, or at work, it's sorting a problem. It's the opposite of like when you're at the beach and the awareness is really open, or in nature. Let's say you're walking through nature, you're kind of probably feeling your footsteps, the sounds, the feeling of the air on your skin, the sunlight, the sounds of the trees, the air in the trees. It's just a big experience. So what's coming up for me is like that modern life trains you to be a bit ADHD, or encourages you to have that narrow focus. So I'm trying to bring in more open focus, and also a type of focus where you're focusing on say, like, let's say the breath or the diaphragm, stomach, say, and the head, and the outside. So you can have a couple of points, 2 or 3 points of meditation focus, and it feels a bit, not an antidote to ADHD, but it's definitely helped with my focus and my concentration. Don't know if that kind of makes sense.
I think it does. I think I always remember a gentleman that came to speak to me at a wellness fair that I was exhibiting at, and he said that he tried every type of meditation you can think of, but he had really, really strong ADHD. He was probably in his 40s or 50s. And I said, I'm doing a workshop later this afternoon where there'll be a group meditation, and I'm going to do this style of meditation. You should come. And he said, you know, it won't help, but I will come. And he came over after the workshop, and he said it was the best meditation experience he'd ever had. Where can I find out more? And it was because of the focus that you mentioned. You know, if you give someone something to focus on. Now, when we say focus, we don't mean that you're solely fixated. You know, focus can, you know, gentle attention can be a focus. It really can. And that difference, I think, in making people understand what focus means. We're not, you know, effort, force and control doesn't need to be involved. Just because focus is involved. Just a very gentle awareness of something, the breath or somatic sensation, a mantra, either verbal or silently repeated, can offer people just that one thing that when their mind wanders, they can bring it back. And their mind wanders and they can bring it back. And if they understand that that's part of the process, and they have ADHD where their mind tends to wander and tends to move, you know, from place to place, it can be a really nice way for them to think, well, I know I can just bring it back. And that's a wonderful feeling for someone where in day-to-day tasks, the work you speak about with the kind of narrow lens focus, they don't have that single point of focus that can bring it back other than a task, which is full of activity. So I think it's a great thing that you found something that can just alleviate in those moments and just give you something that you know you can return to you know, to give you that experience that is different from you know, your normal day-to-day experience. I would say that definitely the trust in knowing you can keep bringing it back, and less effort. I think with ADHD you really want to lock on something, and you really, the mind's scattered and it's looking for something to focus on, but then it tries really hard. So it's almost like less is more. For my ADHD mind, I find that so probably everyone really will find that more powerful. And in my hypnotherapy practice, we have this thing called paradoxical intention. So it's kind of like trying to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. And sometimes when you get people to do the opposite, it kind of takes away some pressure and allows you to do things. So like, tell someone to stop relaxing when they're quite relaxed, and tell them to open their eyes, and they'll find that they're just too relaxed to do it. So then they go more relaxed. I don't know if this is making sense, but yeah, this idea for an ADHD type distracted mind, just doing less, trying to do less. It's like the opposite of what you think, but it kind of works. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a phrase that I love, which typifies what focus can be in meditation. And it's to rest your awareness. Rest your awareness on something, some medium of experience. You know, as gentle as the sunlight hits a rose petal. That's the force that you need, and you can focus on with that much force or that little force. And when people realise, oh, that sounds really nice and gentle and subtle, you know, it can lead to a much smoother and softer experience for them, where they're not, you know, putting loads of effort in, and they can relax more. And I think it's key just to frame that before people go into the experience.
I love that metaphor.